Hello everyone and welcome back to a Gran Turismo video where we're in the Lexus LFA, and yes, it's a time trial this week at Tidgney Layout A, a track I really do like, to be honest with you. Rod Sports soft tyres. I will say this is quite a hard time trial in my opinion. It suits my driving style, but I can see why it would be very difficult this week with the oversteer, with the walls being there, and it's very weighty. You do have to control that weight transfer. A goal estimate of around the 147.6. Do expect to see the number one times come down a little bit more than it already has done. If you do enjoy this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel to stay in touch with all the latest content. But folks, what we're going to do is jump straight into the lap then, and let me tell you how to do it. We're going to head down towards turn number one then. On the left-hand side there, we've got the dark grey going into the Armco, okay? We're braking just before that gets to the edge of your screen, and you just need to brake in a straight line. But even so, literally brake just before that gets to the edge of your screen there, and you're going to drop to third gear. You can drop to second if you want to. Brake in a straight line, really maximize width for the circuit. Come in here, clip the inside, and then accelerate out like so. Be careful, power oversteer on exit, it will happen. And through here, you may suffer some understeer. A slight lift, you can do by all means. You won't suffer that much time loss, so do think about doing that. As we approach this next left-hander then, on the right-hand side, we've got the start the curb. If you want to brake early here, just control the car. You got the first flagpole on the right, but I'm trying to brake at the second flagpole because I'm really trying to truck the car in here. But again, it's all about control here. So brake earlier. If you are struggling, drop to third gear, turn in. Try and get a lot of your car on the inside here. Get over towards the left-hand side. And that catch fence there on the left-hand side is your brake marker for the right-hander. You want to brake early here and turn in, and you really want to maximize the exit. So this corner is all about opening up. This is the priority corner, not the left-hander. The right-hander here is the priority between the two. Get it through the corner, accelerate as early as you can, stay in third gear on exits. It'll just help with that power oversteer. Now, this isn't the greatest first sector, if I'm honest with you. It really isn't. I have gone much quicker here, but even so, it is what it is. Heading in towards this left-hander then, as the 50 board hits the rear view mirror on bumper cam, that is your brake marker. Okay, I'm literally about to brake. I'm one frame off, but I wanted to show the 50 board. So literally, I'm going to hit the brakes now, and I'm going to stay in third gear. Be careful about hitting the inside wall. So I take a wider line here. And what I'm looking for here is the gap in the trees. That's what I always use as an accelerating marker. You can try and use the marshals if you want them much further past the center of your screen. I'm looking for that gap in the trees, and that's when I start accelerating. You can see there, I've just started now. And what I'm going to do then is power on through the corner. Be careful on exit. You may suffer some power oversteer. It depends on the line you've taken and how much weight transfer you had, but just be careful. As you go up here, just remember to maximize the revs in this car. It's the Lexus LFA. It's got a V10. It sounds amazing. So rev it. As we come up here, just be careful of a bit of understeer there on that slight left kink. And as we approach this hairpin, on the right side, you've got a tree just before the 150 board. It's the perfect brake marker, so use it. And you're going to drop to second gear for this one. On chase cam, it's before you get to it. So literally, I'm about to hit the brakes now. So on chase cam, just keep an eye out for that. We're going to drop to second gear here, braking in a straight line. We start to release the brake as we go in. And we start to go on the throttle very early here. The reason for that, we want to bounce the car as we're going to hit the top end of the revs very quickly. I'm staying very close to the walls. Just veer off them a little bit. You don't have to be that close. As we come up here, you can see I've already lifted off the throttle. Now, the rank 1 or rank 2 Ghost at the time actually brakes here. I wouldn't recommend braking, just to lift off, and you want to turn in before that sign right there, okay? Start turning in. You can't see the apex, but as you turn in, the car will understeer a little bit. Then you can maximize this left-hander. As we come up here, the end of the concrete is your braking marker. You can see I've just started hitting the brakes now. I want to brake in a straight line and turn in. You can manipulate the weight a little bit, but it's very hard to do. So just try and keep it nice and sensible. I'll show you on the pad lap what I do there. So hit the brakes, we turn in, and I was trying to use the weight there to maximize my time. But even so, be careful about hitting that inside. That's where a lot of laps are going to get invalidated on that corner. Arguably the hardest corner on the circuit now, this hairpin here, because there's no real good brake markers. You can try and use the house on the right, but I didn't really like it. I was trying to judge it on the 100 board, but you got to brake before the 100 board hits the top of your rearview mirror. Sorry, the bottom of the rearview mirror, okay? You got to brake before that, so it's more of a judgment call here. And it depends how fast you do the left-hander as well. Depends on when you brake. Be careful on exit. You will suffer power oversteer in second gear. And we've got one more marker to do because it's not flat, this right-hander. So as you approach it, the tree on the left-hand side, really good marker here. So what I'm going to do, as that approaches the edge of my screen, I'm going to lift and turn in. Once again, the rank 2 Ghost does brake here, but I find it much quicker to just lift, let the car roll through the corner, and then accelerate. You're lifting before the arrow sign there, okay? Notice I just lift. I cut a lot of the inside as much as I can, straighten up, and then accelerate towards the line. So this is a 145.2. 144 is definitely possible. I've definitely been on for that already many times today, but even so, I haven't managed to do it yet. Here we are with a paddle lap then, hard on the brakes where the grey goes into the Armco, third gear, and we start to release the brake as we go towards the apex. You can accelerate a bit earlier there because it's a cambered corner. Do remember that. Look at the power oversteer we are suffering in this car. So we continue on through. We did it flat there on the left on the pad as well. So the second pole here is where I'm looking to brake. I try and turn in. I've not cut as much as I want to there. Get over towards the left side, brake before the catch fence, turn in. I'm going to be very aggressive on the throttle here in third gear. That gets me into the power band essentially because I'm being so aggressive. Going to head down here then. We're looking for the 50 board hitting the top of the screen. There we go. We hit the brakes. We turn in and we're looking for the gap. Where's the gap? There it is. We start accelerating. We accelerated a bit later than the gap this time just because we were suffering a little bit of understeer on the pad. We had a bit more rotation, weight transfer on the wheel. Just keep that in mind when you're doing this. Again, you don't have to be perfect with this lap. These tips should help you get gold, not necessarily rank 1. Heading in towards the left-hander here, the hairpin. It was the tree on the right side before the 150 board. Second gear, we get on the throttle early, 50% throttle lead, just to try and straighten the car up as quick as we can. Then maximize the throttle, third gear change, up, here we go. Remember, we're going to lift off just before the sign on the left-hand side. So we lift off, we brake in here, and you see the brake does work there as well. We turn into the left hand at the end of the concrete, of course, was a dab of the brakes. So we brake on the pad. You don't have to brake on the pad, you can do it with a lift off as well. But you saw the difference there. So I did the lift off on the wheel. I did the brake on the pad. Easier to brake on the pad because the weight transfer is more controllable with the left-right stick rather than trying to counter the weight transfer. So just keep that in mind. Coming up to here then, this was quite hard on the pad to do actually, this right-hander with a lift. As you can see here, I ran quite wide there and is a bit slower than earlier on the wheel lap. But with that in mind, I got 46.1, 45. Mid 45s are possible on the pad as we go to chase cam then. We're going to head down in towards turn 1. Remember, the grey barrier into Armco. ABS is on weak. We're going to use the camber there to accelerate as early as we can. We turn right here, and then we're going to go to fourth gear as we go left then, clipping the curb, and we don't have to lift here. But do feel free to lift a tiny bit. Go to 80% throttle if you're going to understeer. Second pull on the right is what I'm using there to turn in. I do want to abuse the track limits a bit more on the left-hand side to really open up this corner. I want to accelerate as early as possible again to get into that power band to really push the car out the corner. Very critical that, otherwise you've got to go to second gear and suffer with the control. 50 board there as we go into here. Remember, we're looking for the gap in the trees. There it is. We start accelerating. Just be careful on exit. Very easy to clip the barrier there. I was very close. I've actually been closer than that even and been fine. But a slight graze and it will invalidate your entire lap. So coming up here then, you can breathe a little bit, of course. On the pad, I did suffer a bit more of understeer, so I had to be careful. The tree there on the right side before the 150 board, hard on the brakes. We're in second gear now. We turn in. We start to get on the throttle very early here to control the car. Okay, it's all about that weight transfer. The weight's over the rear wheels then, and then we can go full throttle. Heading up here then, we're going to lift on this particular lap. We're before the sign there, and we turn in at the sign there, and then hard on the brakes at the concrete. We turn in. Oh, I got to be so careful. It's so close, that barrier. The final brake marker is the 100 board, but you're braking well before it. Just keep that in mind as we come into this corner. We release the brakes and let the car roll. Get on the throttle very early again to control the rear wheels and the weight over the rear wheels then as we continue towards the final corner, arguably here. On the left-hand side, the tree there, we lift, we turn in. We let the car cut as much of the corner as we can. There are track limits there, though, so do keep that in mind. We head towards the line, and once again, that is a 145 too. So many 45s this morning. I really wanted the 44. It's why this video is a bit later on than normal, but unfortunately, I didn't quite get it. I may jump on a bit later on to get it, but we will wait and see whether I do that or not. So, as always with this car, make sure you control the weight. Make sure you just stay controlled. Don't brake too late. Control it. Brake early first and work your way up. If you have enjoyed this video, as always, do give it a like and do subscribe to the channel. Stay in touch with all the latest content. Last week's time trial guide is there for you to try out and watch and help you improve to gold. 2 companies there. Check out GT Amiga and Fanatec. Check out the links in the description and use code Tidgney at checkout. But folks, that is going to be it for me. A big thank you for watching as always. I do appreciate the support and I hope to see you in another video live stream again very soon.